Hey everybody, HMV here, playing more Kerbal Space Program, and today Awesome John is taking his ship up to Minmus to complete a bunch of contracts and find out what's up there because we don't actually know. So we're going to use the gravity turn mod. We are actually going to fiddle with the numbers today. We are going to make this 60, and we're going to make the destination height 150, and everything else can stay the same, and let's launch. The ship is very similar to the ship we sent up to Moon, except most of it's staying in low Kerbal orbit at 150 kilometers. I've decided to keep things above 100 kilometers when it is when it's easy to do so, because the orbits are a lot tighter above 100 kilometers, and Kerbin is a great example of a planet where it's nice to be above 100 kilometers because 100 is still fairly low, so I figured I'd give myself a good margin and put it at 150. Gonna lose some tanks here, but this is a pretty simple ship. Doesn't have much going on. It has two of these guys who could actually be on right now, but I figure why when we have three skippers pushing us up through the atmosphere at 1.4 thrust to weight, which is perfectly fine. We've also got 4 escape pods that have enough monoprop in them and 2 monoprop jets to thrust retrograde to get into an atmosphere intersecting orbit and bring anybody home who comes and docks to the station in a ship that otherwise can't land. It's also got some solar panels, just for no particular reason whatsoever. This guy has a solar panel. I could have taken these ones off, and I probably should have. This guy's got these structural pylons, which we need to test in orbit of Minmus, or landing on Minmus or something. Yeah, in orbit of Minmus. So that's part of the mission plan. That's part of what's paying for this mission. We're also going to be planting a flag on Minmus, and we are going to be... I don't know what else we're going to do. There's a EVA near TMA 8. Those are our goals. Eventually we're going to rendezvous 2 vessels, and eventually we're going to test the Ant, but that's a long time from now. Starting to see some flame effects on the front of the ship there, but as is usual, flame effects don't really mean that much in this game. It's all about the heat, and I don't think there's any heat to really worry about. We're 40 kilometers up. We should be fine. The gravity turn is infuriatingly throttling down and lengthening the amount of time it's going to take to ditch these side tanks here. But that's fine. It'll throttle back up as soon as it ditches these guys. There we go. Very nice. If you notice the Delta V here, he actually has a lot more Delta V than it looks like he should because of this decoupler. However, crossfeed is enabled on this decoupler. What we're going to do here is, as soon as we get our apoapsis up to 150, I'm going to and our periapsis is still within the atmosphere. I am going to pump the fuel back forward and then ditch this guy and then turn these guys on. Getting a little bit of a heat warning here, not a big deal. I'm about to actually just ditch the mod here because I'm getting a little worried that it's going to bring my periapsis up out of the atmosphere before we even get there if it keeps up at this rate. But it looks like we're gonna get our apoapsis up to 150 before that happens. And we are gonna lose a little bit of fuel, dropping it back in the atmosphere, but at this point I think that's perfectly fine. And in the dark of Kerbin's night side, we burn this guy up into orbit. 150 by 153, perfectly fine by me. And all we need to do is maintain stability for 10 seconds, which I can't even think of what to talk about during. And then bam, we just got an orbital station contract, which I think paid for this ship, or at least the vast bulk of it. Okay, moving on to the next phase in the mission. We need to decouple this guy from the refueler ship, make sure he still has fuel in all of his parts. He does. He should have more than enough to get all the way to Minmus. According to this thing, he has 2173 total. So we should be fine. Now, where is Minmus? Where, oh, where is Minmus? Set that as our target. Looks like we could actually just go to it, and we might as well do that. Yeah, and actually that's perfect. That'll get us into an orbit that'll put us over this thing as it comes around into the sunset. Okay, I want to nail this as close as I can because we should now be encountering Minmus, but we're not. That's what you get for taking a really long time to do your burn. This is actually possibly a better orbit than we had planned. I guess not. The important thing is we have to get our periapsis down. I think we should possibly do that at the midpoint here. Oh, good. I'm glad I was hoping I couldn't put a maneuver node on the orbit. There we go. We need our periapsis to be 20, I think, in order to do this part test here. 10 to 20. So yeah, we're at 165. So I'm going to try to fiddle with my maneuver node here. To get this under 20. There we go. It's actually pretty good. I think that'll be perfect. And we could probably do this at any time, but I'm going to go down to about 10 seconds before. We're just going to push it really lightly in the direction of our maneuver here. Holding down control and then just tapping shift is what I'm doing. That should be perfectly fine. 13 is fine by me. Now here, all we got to do is get into orbit. We have 204 meters per second left on this tank. And yeah, just getting into a nice tight orbit is all we need to do. So we're going to do that, and that'll give us just enough fuel to slow down to the point where we're going to land. We could not have asked for better. This is pretty awesome. As long as I plan to have enough fuel to get home, we should be fine. And I didn't bring any science on this trip, I just realized. And this is the last time probably we're going to Minmus for a contract. So that was a mistake. But we're doing fine. I think I could actually complete most of the rest of the game with what we have here. I just realized this isn't even a park test contract. It's a get it into this orbit contract. Okay, we now have the correct altitude. We're just not in orbit right now. There you go. Another contract done. $14 by $13. Perfect for me. That definitely, the two of those contracts together had to have paid for this ship. We're off center because I took a screenshot for the probably for the entire thing. Okay, now all we need to do now is plan around here to come down around here, then bring up the trajectories mod, put on body fixed mode, and then go forward orbits until we get close to this. Go minus an orbit and go a little bit more in the retrograde. Something like that should be fine. And then might as well put it into... So we're coming in right over it. That's perfect. 16 meters per second well spent in a day. I'm going to hit F5 here because we're going to test out our new time warp abilities here. They're not really new anymore, but... Oh, the stock game was never this good. That was beauteous. Awesome, John liked that a lot. That should be perfectly fine. I see no reason to change anything. Let's go ahead and set up our stopping maneuver. Obviously, we need to be going a little bit farther before we do that. That's going to be amazing. We're going to want to come to a complete stop right freaking there. 169 meters per second. We have 28 of it in this. So we're actually doing a lot better than we thought. And this is awesome. We could actually just dump these things. It is only 28 meters per second. They're the next thing to go. I'm going to hit F5. There we go. We still have $1,000 in the tank, and we're almost landed. So yeah, we have plenty to get home. Okay, it's a 15-second burn. Let's get down to it. We are coming down. Oh, we're hearing explosions in space somehow. Yeah, I think we got to come over this ridge before we're going to see it. But that might be it right there. Oh, this is looking beautiful. It definitely looks like a monolith to me. It is definitely a monolith. Awesome John is amazed. He's actually going to break protocol and make up down so he can look at the monolith himself. And I'm sure he could see it if he knew where to look. And we're still in orbit mode. There we go. He tells ground control this is why he rolled his craft around to make sure he was aimed correctly for this. And touchdown. Rotate it so we're in the sun. Let's go ahead and rotate this guy as well. Now the ship's probably going to roll a bit, but there's not much we can do about it. And we're also face down, which is bad. Okay, let's go ahead and rotate the ship back up. Let's hope that it sits like this. I'm going to guess it won't. But there's only one way to find out. Let's turn T off. Nope, it is not going to sit like that. Okay. Well, all we got to do is hop out and plant our flag. Definitely keep those. Whoa. Let's check this guy out. It looks just like the one on Kerbin. Pretty tough to miss these things on Minmus, and you can't land on top of it. Unless there's a mint chip flavored monoliths around here somewhere. Okay, plant your flag. Get your job done here. And then back in the ship. Because we are heading home. Okay, computer back on. Roll this thing up. Doesn't really matter which direction you face, but the 90 seems like a reasonable idea. Where's Kerbin? There's Kerbin. You're actually in a pretty good spot to just burn back. I'm going to hit F5 here, just in case I'm wrong. Looks like I'm kind of wrong. A moon encounter, huh? Yeah, it's going up. I kind of like this idea. I might even try out here to fill it because we got a couple contracts for stuff around Moon. I'm actually going to go into slight time warp here. We have contracts for things around Moon. Science and things like that. So if we can nail these... And get a periapsis close to Kerbin. See, this is great. 22 meters per second. We're going to have plenty of fuel around Kerbin to slow down. There we go. Periapsis is a 27. Just do one more. Get it to 84. That's perfect. And then we can fiddle around Moon. I like this. And then we'll get it. We got a couple of contracts. Well, we got one contract for wherever it is. Scientific data from space around Moon. So we might as well get that and then just nail even more stuff. Actually, check this out here. Just bring this down right into the atmosphere at 67. That's perfect. And now it's just like we're coming back from Moon. Go ahead and take an EVA report while you're out here. Okay, we don't really care about our Moon encounter anymore. But when we get here, what will it take to just slow all the way down? 905, we don't quite have that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to burn, let's say negative 590. Let's enjoy our trip past Moon here, where Pohan de Ruin is still orbiting, waiting for his contract. And we're in the atmosphere, and we're also 20 seconds away from our maneuver node. And we probably should have already started burning, but no big deal. We're just bleeding off a lot of our orbital velocity, just for safety's sake. I really don't think it's a big deal. I don't think there's any chance we're going to burn up in the atmosphere or anything, but we've got the fuel. We might as well use it in a frugal fashion. And I'm trying to save about 15 meters per second here. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 14 meters per second left. Perfect. And now, out here, we are going to burn away that 14 meters per second. Or less, depending on what that makes our periapsis. That's actually, yeah, 48's fine. 48's actually really good. Looks like it's still going to be a couple orbits. Although that makes no sense. But I guess 48 is still too high. So I'll come back when we're more than a few orbits in. Okay, Awesome John has decided this is anything but awesome. So he has decided to hop out and give the ship a little bit of a push here. It's made slightly more difficult by the fact that it's starting to rotate. Also the fact that that's not the planet. Oh, I hate that. Let's go ahead and do a quick time warp to stop time. Let's also bring up the nav HUD. We're in orbit mode. Yeah, that's prograde, so we actually want to be going this way, which is actually perfect. That means I stopped the ship at roughly the right time. Okay, what did that do for my orbit? We're already coming back in, so I think that's fair. That's all he wanted to do, was give it a little nudge, help it out a bit. Let's go into first-person mode here. I really like this first-person mode. It doesn't work so well on the ground, I've found. But in orbit, it's just fine. Of course, we are at 4 times time warp, which might not be the best idea. Let's drop it down to 3. All this hitting F10, I have no idea. Oh, there's the temperature gauge. As long as it doesn't climb too fast, we should be fine. We're just crossing the 2 kilometer per second mark. The solar panel goes, I'm really not concerned. And touchdown. Just in case, go ahead and hop out. But no, we've been in the desert before, so let's go ahead and just recover you. All right, 221 science this time, 623 total. We have almost $4 million in the bank. Awesome John is level 2, which is fantastic. Oh, because he crossed through Moon's sphere of influence. He got a couple extra points there. I think he's our only level 2 guy. Let's actually check that out. Nope. Daniel Schmid is also level 2. Don't know how he got that, but it doesn't matter. We have two guys who, I wish I could give you guys orange suits. That would be pretty awesome. But we got Zoe and Miguel coming out. By the way, just while we're here, Zoe and Miguel are the last 2 Kerbonauts to go. And then we're looping back to the front where I get to go. And I've never actually gone because I was Jeb last time I went. And then I died. I am the reincarnation of Jeb. Yeah, so after you two, so anybody else who wants your name in, now's a good time to put it in because you'll be on the next couple episodes. And those next couple episodes, let's find out what we're doing here. We are investigating TMA 5 on the moon. Sweet, let's accept that contract. Pohan now has something to do. We've also got all these things for Minmus. I almost want to go back. We definitely don't need a new orbital station around the moon. We're not going on an escape trajectory, especially with a mainsail. We're not going to be in flight over Kerbin for any near time. So let's go ahead and cancel all these science contracts. Or all these contracts, I should say. Because we have completed a mission. We are allowed to cycle the contracts once. Okay, let's see what this looks like here. Alt F12? Yeah. Science data from the surface of the moon. Well, we're going to the surface of the moon. Satellite and equatorial orbit of Kerbin. I don't really feel like doing that. Okay, investigating TMA 6, accept. Investigating TMA 7, accept. Test the stack separator orbiting the moon. I don't like that because that'll leave a stack separator in orbit of moon. Build a new orbital station around Duna. Antenna, docking port, power, 12 Kerbals, tons of fuel. Nope, not going to happen. So I think that's what we're going to do. Next time we are sending our last Kerbonaut up to the moon. That will be Zoe Kerman. Or just Zoe, I think. Yeah, just Zoe. And she is going to meet up with Pohan, and they are going to go down in the ship that is currently orbiting moon. I believe we still have the good ship up here. The one that can actually land on the equators, or on the poles, I should say. We do. It's docked right here. So all we need to do is Zoe needs to come up with a ship that can dock to this station and has 2 return vessels. One for her and one for Pohan. And then we will leave this thing in orbit of moon for anything future we need to do up here. So I hope you're looking forward to that. I'm definitely looking forward to doing it. I'm HMV and I win. As always, talk at you later.